All right.
Is this going to be a repeat of? Oh, are we live? Are we?
Are we live? Yeah.
Are we live?
Please don't let this. Have I just done the exact same thing? Yes, we are actually live. Okay.
Oh,
Very good. It's happened twice now.
Yay!
This has
happened.
This has
Oh my
happened
goodness.
twice. Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to Motorsport recently, and for the first time ever, it is live on YouTube. I'm Jack McKenzie, and joining me today, Prime, the wonderful Chris Whitfield from not snowy Canada, apparently. I can't exactly confirm what his weather's like, but apparently that's what it is like in Canada. And Caitlin Pennon, very good. Caitlin
yeah.
Penny commentary. Caitlin Penny commentary all the way from the UK.
hello.
In this week's episode, we look back at the Mexico Eprix, the Daytona 500, and some Formula One news, including pre-season testing, and of course some miscellaneous points and stories that we will have missed, covering at the end of the show. Finally, we have this show on the roads after various issues. Talking about we like, and also we are currently uploading last week's episode, which pessimists will say, "Oh my gosh, it's taken too long," but optimists will say it's double the fun. So, welcome, guys, to this episode of Motorsport recently.
And play the theme song.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we? It doesn't look like anyone has anything to talk about for the time being. So let's see if anyone is currently watching. The Forza rookie says "Oi," and he says, "This is so organized."
Very much
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Very, very, I must say. Today, okay, without further ado, then let's get in. And we start today's show with Formula E. Now, you may have just noticed what we are presenting this on. We have decided to be very professional and present this off a PowerPoint presentation, which I never thought
Jack.
I'd actually be doing. Yes.
Jack, I hate to interrupt you, but I can't see anything on the screen apart from black. I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
And this is why we test it.
Okay. Oh my
This is going well. This is going well.
Well, talk amongst yourselves, everyone.
Dude.
How's your, leave in the comments. How's your week been? Which racing series did you see? What color's your toothbrush? I don't know, just anything. Keep yourselves entertained. We will be with you in a moment.
Just store for us, please.
I have a non-electric toothbrush.
Ah, Jack, we have life
good.
on the
Now
stream.
everyone sees what we're presenting on. Very, very professional.
Very professional.
Now-
Jack, very good.
Yes. Now, hopefully, this will switch over to what we need in a second. There we go. Come on.
It's gone black again.
Give it-
I think Jack.
Okay. You know what?
I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
think the problem that we have encountered. You know what is the problem we have encountered is that
Go
it
ahead.
looks like you can't actually you can't actually present PowerPoint hangouts,
It's
which
at least
is
can't go full
the
screen.
problem.
Just show
which
the
is
slide.
problem that-
Yeah.
Just
Okay
slow,
then.
Just show the,
It's
slow the slide. I can speak well.
Yeah. Slow.
Yes.
Slow the
Okay.
shine. And
Well,
we'll do it.
it's time for
minimize Google
It's time
Hangout.
for
Yeah.
It's time for professionalism, everybody. So okay, we start today's show looking back at the Mexico Eprix. Please enjoy the wonderful scenes that you're hopefully seeing on screen now. So we had yet another round of the Premier Electric Racing Series, Formula E. After a rather dull Santiago Eprix, Formula E found itself in Mexico City. Going into round 4, the championship looked like this. Sam Bird topped the championship, followed by Jerome D'Ambrosio, Antonio Felix da Costa, Robin Frins, and Jean-Eric Verne. In qualifying, Oliver Rowland topped the timesheets ahead of Pascal Wehrlein and Felipe Massa. Lucas di Grassi actually qualified in 4th place, which was his best qualifying position of the entire season so far.
Quite incredible, if you ask me.
Yes, very good.
Shows you how deep the field is.
Yeah.
So the stage was set for an awesome race. Very good. The race got underway, and mere minutes into the race, a spectacular crash involving Nelson Piquet Jr. and Jean-Eric Verne occurred, causing Piquet to fly over him and clip Alexander Sims, and the race was red flagged, and that was actually quite a spectacular crash. Now, does anyone know if that touched the halo or not?
It did not. It actually, I believe, clipped the right rear corner of Sims's car.
No, but I mean, like when Piquet went over the top of Verne, did the back of his
no,
car
it didn't hit the
halo?
it didn't hit the halo. It actually just basically launched over the side pod and barely missed him.
Well, but I guess that's why we have technology like this, because if Piquet had hit Jean-Eric Verne, that wouldn't have been particularly good. So it is good that we have the halo in case stuff like that does happen.
Yeah, looking back at it, I think it was just Verne going defensive, and as he's completely entitled to, there was room on the inside, so it wasn't really Verne's fault. Piquet just sort of misjudged it and tried to be aggressive, as again he's entitled to do. There was just a slight misjudgment, and over the top he went. I was going to say though, one thing that I noticed about that crash, it's a really weird thing to notice, but it looked realistic. Like, I know it's weird to say, but previous Formula E accidents that we've seen, for some reason, just look like toy cars crashing. And it's a weird thing to want from a series for the cars to look like they crash properly. But I don't know, it's just... It's not great to see crashes, but when you do, you at least want them to be proper crashes.
Of course, one of the biggest toy car crashes in the Formula E series came in the very first race, if I remember correct. Yes. If everyone remembers.
Yes.
It was Nick Heidfeld flyover.
I made a meme out of that, actually, which blew Chris's eardrums out.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it did. And
I was going to say that.
And I'd like to thank Jack, by the way, for the hearing loss. I much appreciated.
Oh, I have a couple of other bits of news as well. First of all, the Forza rookie says actually di Grassi's best qualifying result, it was first, but we all know how that went.
We do.
And in other news, last week's episode's just been uploaded.
Hey!
Yes!
Last week's episode is now live. If you want to go and check that out and then come back and watch this, then you can.
That is perfect timing.
No.
Then you're free to do so.
Check it out after this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do them in the wrong order.
Live.
Stay with us live.
Yes.
It's better live.
Anyway, more professionalism, everybody. So moving on. The race, the race was reset, and the race was red flagged, and Alexander Sims was out of the race. It was luckily Piquet did actually walk away. I think there was some speculation that he had some broken bones, but that wasn't the case.
Problem with his back, I think.
Something like that.
You often get that when a driver lands from a height like that, because the car lands very, very solidly, and there's not really much to cushion the driver underneath the car. So whenever you see a vehicle getting airborne like that one, there is always concern for the driver's back, but it's good to hear that Piquet appears to have got away with it relatively fine.
Also of note on the red flag, apparently the Mexican fans are just... interesting people. One, in fact, brought a sousaphone of all things to the track.
Oh
Now,
my goodness.
I have been trying to find a screenshot of that, but so far I have been unsuccessful in doing so. Otherwise, well, it would have been here by now.
Anyway,
but, yeah, go on ahead.
The competition was tight throughout the field, but at 7 minutes to go, Lucas di Grassi started making his move, getting past Oliver Rowland as he went into the attack mode zone. Di Grassi would continue to pressure the race leader Pascal Wehrlein right up until the end of the race. However, coming out of the final corner on the final lap, Pascal Wehrlein ran out of charge meters before the finish line. Di Grassi slipped by and took victory, which is what you're seeing on now, is A PowerPoint presentation, and B, that particular moment. That was, I think, I mean, I know what happened next, but would that possibly be one of the closest finishes we have seen in Formula E?
Now, people are saying that it's very, very unlucky for Wehrlein, and indeed it sort of is. But at the same time, I think people understate exactly how good Di Grassi was in that situation, because it was Di Grassi that forced Wehrlein to push far, far longer than he expected to or hoped to, that actually caused Wehrlein to run out of power. So yeah, actually, people don't give enough credit to Lucas Di Grassi for what happened.
And also, it's worth noting that if you see the screenshot there, Di Grassi came across the line sideways.
Oh, certainly.
That takes some extreme skill in order to...
Nani?
Oh,
exactly.
Golly. Nani? Come say drifter. We're initial D'ing again. Yay. We did this in episode 1. We're doing it again.
Stream now.
I've never been a fan of Lucas Di Grassi. He's done some weird things in the past. London 2016, I still think was deliberate. I know that's a controversial opinion, but at the same time, you have to give him credit when credit is due, and credit was certainly due for that race. It was a great drive.
Yes, right. I thought you were about to say you hate Initial D there, and that would have caused a massive argument. Luke.
Well,
oh no!
No.
We don't want to kill the weebs. We don't want the weebs to go away from us.
No, we don't. And I don't want to.
I don't even know what a weeb is. I'm 30 years old. I don't even know what a damn weeb is.
I'll explain after the.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that after. Lucas Di Grassi took the top step of the podium with Antonio Felix da Costa in second, and Eduardo Mortara. Yes, words today. Second, and Eduardo Mortara third. Come on, voice box, please. Pascal Wehrlein ended up finishing sixth because of the penalties he got for straight lining the chicane.
It was a 5-second penalty, and quite frankly, it would have went either way on that one from what I saw, but it looked to me as if Di Grassi pushed him off into the chicane at turn 7, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, it was, unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes in this sport. They like, you get pushed and you get and you're the one that gets penalized. It's, unfortunately, that's what happens here.
In other news, neither of the Nissans did particularly well because they ran out of charge.
Well, they actually did run well, but they were in contention. They were running 3rd and 4th, but then they ran out of juice on the last lap.
Yeah,
just a miscalculation. I was going to say about the Wehrlein going over the runoff area. That's the word. Yeah, the runoff area. It actually looks now I look back at the replay as if Di Grassi did get his car fully alongside Wehrlein's before the corner. So I'd say that because he was on the inside, because he got so far alongside him, I'd say that at that point he had every right to the corner, and Wehrlein, well, it was his opportunity or his option as to what to do next, really, and that's what he did.
Essentially, it reminds me of the Champ Car race in 2005 in Montreal when Timo Glock got pushed off into the chicane at Montreal. He actually Glock was forced to give the position up to Servia, and he was none too pleased about it. He actually lost the race because of it, because they actually had to give the position back to Servia on the final lap.
Anyway, for the Forza Rookie saying the Meme Supreme podcast, yes, and you have just lost a weeb. Well, why have we lost a weeb? Because we didn't say that we hated Initial D. We actually do love Initial D.
I was joking. I should point that out. Like, yeah,
Anyway,
I don't hate Initial D. I'm not a fan of them, but I don't hate them. So yeah.
well, you should watch it. You should watch Initial D.
Sorry, go ahead.
After this round, the championship looks like this. Jerome D'Ambrosio tops the championship on 53 points. In second on 46 is Antonio Felix da Costa. Sam Bird on 45 points. Lucas de Grassi on 34 points. And Pascal Wehrlein on 30 points. Next up is Hong Kong, which is a brilliant location. Trust me, I know I've been there. And also I just watched a really good TV show that was set there called White Dragon. You should really watch it. I believe it's called Strangers in the States, but that's besides the point. So Hong Kong is a brilliant location, but I would say expect carnage, lots of red and yellow flags. If you like crashes, it will probably be quite entertaining. But I don't know.
Let's Montreal last year.
I don't know. It should be interesting. Forza Rookie again saying, if you want to know what a meme is, just look at my profile pic. Or do you mean a weeb? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, shall we move on? Yes, I believe we... Yes, we should.
Yes, do it. Move on.
Chris, you're up. It's Daytona 500. And before we start, Daytona! Let's go away! Oh, I'm sorry. I just
like it to be recorded that I was against the singing part.
Yes, but it's Daytona. One day we will play that. I was actually supposed to play it during our Daytona pre-race show, but rather awkwardly didn't play. And we were all just sitting there in silence for a minute.
Hence the, are we live?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the 61st Daytona 500 highlights here. The Hendrick Motorsport teammates of William Byron and Alex Bowman led the field to the green flag for the 61st running of the Daytona 500. However, it took 50 laps for the first incident to happen when Kurt Busch and Ricky Stenhouse collided in Turn 1, collecting Bubba Wallace, Jamie McMurray, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Dillon. The winner of stage number 1, 10 laps later, was Kyle Busch, who easily won the first stage. 60 laps later, the second stage, after only one caution for a collision between Casey Mears and Parker Kligerman. Lap 120, Ryan Blaney crossed the line to win the second of the stages. Then everything unraveled.
Oh no.
On lap 160, when cars were pitting, Cody Ware misjudged the slowing pack ahead and spun into his Rick Ware Racing teammate BJ McLeod, who then pinballed into Tyler Reddick. Ricky Stenhouse was also involved. Jimmy Johnson was involved and continued with the dry brake fuel nozzle hanging on for dear life after Reddick clipped Johnson's left rear quarter panel. Then cut to 8 laps to go, and Paul Menard attempted to help Matt DiBenedetto to the front, but misjudged the bump drafting and triggered a 21 car pileup. They restarted on lap 199, only to not make it to turn 3 before Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Larson tackled, triggering a 7-car contretemps. Restarting again on lap 201, and they, you guessed it, got into another schmozzle when Clint Boyer went 3 wide on Michael McDowell and got himself turned in turn 3. First lap after a restart. This particular one caused 8 cars to be eliminated. This set up a 2-lap sprint to decide the race between Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. 2 of the cars that were not involved in crashes, the third being 10th place finisher Ross Chastain in the Premium Motorsport Chevy. In the end, though, Hamlin was too much for Busch and scored his second Daytona 500 victory, dedicating the victory to the memory of J.D. Gibbs, the co-owner of the team, who had passed away a month prior.
I will say in the Cup race at least, even by NASCAR standards, there were way too many wrecks and the driving standards were quite poor.
Oh, they were abysmal. They were abysmal. I watched the entire race live, and it was, just by the time, once you get to 20 to go, it's basically every man for himself. And,
that's what happened.
Yeah, it was just abysmal driving standards. And I gotta say this, under the old system before the charter system came into effect, Cody Ware would not have qualified for the Daytona 500. He was slow in every session. He finished last in his dual race. But if only there was a system in place where the fastest 40 cars could run, and the slowest, however many there are, did not make the field. But now we have the charter system. Thanks, Rob Kaufman. We still don't forgive you for trying to kill Mike Rockefeller at Le Mans. But
you'll have to tell me that story later. I don't know about that.
I can't say no either, but this is why I say this is why when we were talking during the week, I said the Xfinity race was actually better because the driving standards were good, despite the fact that they were going around in a train.
Jack, no one was making any attempt to pass.
Well, the thing is, though, when they did, though, they'd end up at the back of the field.
Yes, because everybody was grouped up in the same line. They didn't even try to make a move.
Yeah, no, nobody wrecked though. I mean, somebody did. I think somebody went too high and ended up in the wall. But that was one of the only incidents that actually happened during the race.
Yeah, it was I forget who it was. I think it was Cesar Baccarella that crashed with 2 to go. Hit the wall and then didn't actually wind up bringing a yellow out.
Yeah,
because apparently single file racing, this is fine.
So
this is fine.
What we can deduce from this Daytona 500 then is that clean racing is boring, and when people are actually aggressive, stuff like what you're seeing currently on screen happens.
And ironically, this is the last time you'll see this kind of package, as this is the last restrictor plate race.
Is it?
In NASCAR? Yes, they're going to the tapered spacer and a higher rear spoiler at Talladega, from what I'm hearing.
Well, whatever they try, I actually hope it works.
Yeah, well, they needed that at Talladega after the last couple of accidents that have happened there.
Just hopefully they can figure this out. So, what was our top 5, Chris?
Top 5 were actually it was a Joe Gibbs 1, 2, 3. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch was second. Eric Jones actually wound up involved in one of the wrecks, came home third. Then Joey Logano and Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell and Joey Logano were not happy after the race, including McDowell saying and I'm paraphrasing here, that he doesn't get paid to push someone else to the win. So a lot happened.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I was watching the 15-minute highlights that NASCAR have on their YouTube channel would have you believe otherwise, because what happened in the highlights was they went on the first couple of laps, and then they cut to 50 laps later when I believe the pit road crash happened.
Well, because nothing really actually happened in stage 2. Because apart from Casey Mears and Parker Kligerman colliding, and by the way, Kligerman actually wound up 15th at the end of the day. And as I said, Ross Chastain was the third and last car that was not involved in an accident. He brought that premium motorsport number 15 home to a top 10 finish, which is pretty respectable for such a small team. That's the Jay Robinson effort.
Ross Chastain, he got a drive in the Cup Series. Was that a full-time driver, or is that just Daytona?
He actually is running full-time in the Xfinity Series. From what I'm hearing, he is doing the majority of the season with Johnny Davis's team, the number 4, I believe, the Flex Seal Chevy.
The Flex Seal family of products. It even works underwater. I'm sorry.
I sawed my Chevy in half. But
to be honest, that very much sums up the Daytona 500. Look at all that damage.
Now that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage, yeah.
Oh my god.
I sawed my boat in half. But isn't it great that we can just quote Flex Seal commercials during a racing podcast?
And I quoted it wrong. Yes.
Phil Swift, if you would like to sponsor us with the Flex Seal family of products, we'd be very much open to discussion.
Please do.
Anyway, should we move on?
Yes.
Moving on to the iPace trophy. That actually wasn't what I was expecting, but okay. Chris, you want to do the iPace trophy story?
All the way to America and back to Mexico again.
Yes. Well, it's the same continent.
Sort of.
Yes.
Yes,
all right. The
iPace
Jaguar iPace Trophy. Round number 2 was in Mexico City. And Catherine Legg started on the pole for it with her teammate Brian Sellers alongside.
IMSA goes to Mexico. Sorry.
Yes. And actually, they were the championship rivals, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they were.
Lap 3, and Team Brazil's Caca Bueno got flat-out punted by Jaguar's VIP driver, Salvador Duran, who, by the way, is a former winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona for Chip Ganassi.
Former Formula E driver, too, so he's back in that paddock.
Yep. I think the first time he's been in Formula 1 since season 1.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yes.
Formula
Or
E,
Formula
yeah.
E, rather. Formula
Can I
One.
just say though? Can I just say? Please no Punterino.
Oh no! Oh nay!
Where does that quote come from? Because I've heard
Jimmy
it used quite a
Broadbent.
bit in sim racing.
Jimmy Broadbent.
Jimmy Broadbent.
Um,
Of course, it came from him.
Yes, did. Anyway,
basically, what happened was Caca Bueno got flat out punted by Duran in the last chicane. The incident also involved TWR's Stefan Radzinski, the Canadian, and championship leader Simon Evans. Up front, however, Legg became the first woman to win the Jaguar I-Pace E-Trophy event, holding off Brian Sellers to score the victory. In Pro-Am, it was Bandar Alessi that held off a strong challenge from Ahmed bin Khanan to win the Pro-Am class. Now, it should be noted, I believe, that is this an FIA sanctioned series? And did we witness history?
Which history?
For Catherine.
what would that particular statistic? Hold on, I can look this up for you. Hold on.
The first woman to win a FIA sanctioned World Championship event.
Huh.
I'm going to look that up.
That would be interesting, yeah.
Yes, it's. Hold on, wait. So it's supporting the FIA Formula E.
Yeah, supporting the FIA Formula E Championship.
Wikipedia.
So I wouldn't.
And
it's
it should be
probably
noted-
FIA sanctioned.
The Jaguar I-Pace Trophy. Blah 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 blah.
And it should be noted also that she is also leading the championship after this.
Well done, Catherine. Yeah.
Let's try their website. I'm actually looking this up. See if they are actually sanctioned by the FIA. About the cars.
I'd love to be the second, but it's not going to happen.
How do you know? How do we
money?
This could be. Well, you might get money.
You could run in the Pro-Am class.
You're gonna get money because you're gonna get all that money from that wonderful Flexio sponsorship deal.
Yes.
I sawed my Jag in half.
Oh wait, I realized we've pronounced Jaguar wrong. It's pronounced Jag.
The Jag.
I sawed my Jag in half.
The Jaguar I-Pace Trophy. So if it's supporting the FIA Formula E Championship, then I would probably say yes, it is sanctioned by the FIA, which means
probably.
Yes, Catherine Legg has possibly made history.
Well then, Catherine.
Hooray!
Right.
Well, okay then. And on that bombshell, it's I would say it's time to move on to Formula One.
Yes.
We start Formula One stories off today with even more livery reveals. Now, obviously, the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull liveries were not going to be the full season liveries, and their actual liveries were released. Alfa Romeo's new livery looks very similar to last year's Sauber livery with some minor changes, and the Red Bull livery was just Command C, Command V from last year's, and they added a Honda badge. So that's enough of the livery reveals. It's not particularly interesting. Let's move on to something actually interesting then.
Pre-season
Were there cars on track?
Yes, there was. Finally, we have some on-track action. From
18 of them.
Yes.
until the third day.
Yes. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. From the fastest cars in the world, Formula One is back, and just 4 days in, and a lot has happened. Keep watching to find out all the interesting stuff from pre-season testing. So we kicked testing for the 2019 season off with a bang. By this we mean we only saw 9 cars out on track. You could say we started off with a bang because we did have a small inferno, but I'm sure we'll get to that as well. What Rocket Williams Racing must have gone to space as they were far from Barcelona and testing for the new season. Now,
let's credit our writer Freya for that. That's a really good one.
thank you, Freya, for that. That was
I got a huge kick out of that one. Thank you.
We laughed at that. Williams has said that the car wasn't ready for testing, and this is the first time Williams have missed testing in the whole 42 years that the team have been around. Ferrari had a good day with Sebastian Vettel in the Scarlet Red Matte Ferrari and wrapping up 169 laps around the circuit in Spain. And not alone were the laps there were a lot of laps, but the laps were also very quick. So that's a good sign.
Much quicker than I expected, I must say.
The German driver set the fastest time of that particular day with a record of 1 minute 18.161. This left big shoes to fill for the rookie of Ferrari. Well, we wouldn't really say he's a rookie because he's been in Formula One for a season, but he is I guess he is a Ferrari rookie. Charles Leclerc. Seb went on to say that the car had no issues slowing him down. Everyone in Ferrari was pretty happy with that. Now we move on to the Silver Arrows, who, so that's
that would be Mercedes, of course.
Yes, we
don't have much to say. They didn't really put in a lap on the softest tires. And clearly just finding data rather than lap times. Sandbagging. Sandbagging. Sorry.
Should we move on to the... now, second on the timing sheet for testing day one is McLaren's Carlos Sainz, who had a good day despite the fact he had a loss of drive on a test start just after the pit lane. But ultimately he got a good lap in. That's a good sign for McLaren, but it is just testing, so not very much can be said about that.
Well, 'tis better to have it's that old saying, 'tis better to have your problems either in testing or early in the race than right at the end of it.
Yes, and then there was also they also had a minor inferno, but I'm pretty sure
minor inferno.
They had a minor inferno. The Iceman had an eventful first day in the Alfa Romeo on his first lap, spinning into the gravel where he ended up before finishing his first lap, but that didn't matter in the end as he clocked up a total of 114 laps by the end of the day. The Lotus, and also I'm pretty sure he was faster than Sebastian Vettel at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah. The Sauber is looking, or Alfa Romeo. Sorry, I knew I'd do that. Yeah, the Alfa Romeo is looking a lot quicker than people expected, and that's fantastic to see. So, yeah.
The Lotus Haas also had a rocky day, but ended on a high after Romain Grosjean locked up and found himself in the gravel at turn 3. And then a fuel pressure problem that caused the car to stop in the middle of the track. He managed to secure the team third on the timings for day one, though, which is pretty good. Red Bull Racing's number one driver, Max Verstappen, joined Vettel, Sainz, and a few other drivers with 100 or more laps in, with him getting a total of 128 laps in the new Honda-powered car. Daniel Kvyat and Nico Hülkenberg both happy with their first day, which I'm pretty sure Daniel Kvyat, he actually topped the timing sheets on one of the days, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I think we are actually getting to that though. So so they were both happy with it. So Daniel Kvyat and Nico Hülkenberg were both happy with the cars on the first day, collecting a lot of data that will help them in the coming days and of course in Melbourne. Daniel Ricciardo was the last on the timing sheets alongside his 2019 teammate Nico Hülkenberg. Sergio Perez only managed 30 laps on day one for the newly renamed Racing Point F1 team.
But he was actually pretty quick in those especially on day one, he was actually second fastest in one of the sessions, if I remember correctly.
Although it does remain to be seen, will Racing Point F1 become pointless racing F1 or whatever that might be.
No, no, they still have Perez.
I'm looking at some comments now. Randy045, he gives us a wave. Hello, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
And Freya's in the chat as well. As I would say, not all heroes wear capes, but she says that you're welcome for the Williams joke.
Well done, Freya.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful.
That was excellent.
Excellent. Now we move on to day 2 of the on-track action for the 2019 F1 season. Day 2 held first days in for new cars and many drivers. Leclerc in Ferrari, Gasly in the Red Bull, Norris in the McLaren, Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo, Stroll in the Racing Point, Albon in the Toro Rosso. It was a day of mixed emotions for Red Bull's rookie, Pierre Gasly. A positive start, getting in some good laps, but learning the car and handling it proved to be a little difficult for the Frenchman, who took a mighty hit into the wall through the gravel at turn 13. But overall, a chunk of data and P6 on the timing. So positive, but that... I think I have seen that crash, and that wasn't a particularly nice-looking crash.
Well, actually, it looked very much like not much damage was actually going to be done to it. It gave it a little bit of a whack, but it was only on the rear wing. And to be honest, I'd be surprised if there was even suspension damage from it.
Still wouldn't have been particularly pleasant though. So yes, he ended up in the gravel trap. Charles Leclerc had a beyond exceptional first run in the Ferrari. The rookie being less than 9/100ths away from the championship winner and 2019 team. Well, from championship winner, yes, not the championship winner from last year, because we know how that turned out. And 2019 teammate Sebastian Vettel. Lando Norris had an extremely positive first run in the MCL 34 and matching Carlos Sainz's times from day 1. Antonio Giovinazzi, who actually missed Petit Le Mans, I'm pretty sure, to join Sauber and help them out.
Yeah, he was scheduled actually to run for ESM in what turned out to be their last race.
Oh, let's try not to dwell on the past. He managed to get the Alfa Romeo into P5 and an all-round tremendous performance from him. I think people had their doubts about him, but that's good to see that he's not doing particularly... that he's not doing badly. Newcomer to F1, Alexander Albon, showed everyone how fast he is at driving an F1 car. He did this by spinning... not only once, but twice in one day.
Including actually, I believe he made it all the way to turn 4 before having his first spin.
Yeah, he'll get used to it. He's very new to F1. Everyone does. If you remember when Lance Stroll joined Formula One, he crashed the car, also at turn 4 before he'd even done his first race.
4 times.
Drivers, yeah, he spun 4 times, I believe. But whatever the case, yeah, he'll get used to it.
Albon was in Formula 2, wasn't he?
Yes, finished third last year in Formula 2. Yeah.
I guess if you think about it, right. The modern F1 cars are producing what, like 850 horsepower?
Maybe.
Around 850 horsepower, and an F2 is probably way less than that. I'd say it probably has around 600 horsepower. So
something like that, yeah.
That is quite a significant jump, so yes, that's understandable.
Yeah, and it's just cold tires. The way a Formula 1 car handles on cold tires is very different to how a Formula 2 car does, and that does take some getting used to. So I'm not surprised he had those spins, but if you remember, Lando Norris did exactly the same thing on another day, just randomly beaching it while on an outlap, and even Kimi Räikkönen lost on cold tires. So I am interested to see how tricky the cars appear to be to handle on cold tires this year. But yeah, as for the new drivers, they'll get the hang of it. It's just something that happens to new drivers, really. Better to have it happen in testing than on a race weekend.
Anyway, you did mention Lance Stroll before, but Lance Stroll didn't have a great day either. The team not particularly happy with what they saw on track. The Renault new boy Daniel Ricciardo didn't fly on day 2 either. So obviously
nobody's rear wing did.
He's not getting his daily dose of. So it looks like not having a daily dose of Red Bull actually takes your wings away.
See, the thing is, what happened was I looked at the footage closely, and his Dr. S mail slot, as I call it, because Dr. S, just kind of flew off.
Yeah.
He spun, didn't hit anything, but...
Chris, you didn't need to look at it closely to see that, but yeah, you're right. Anyway,
that happened in a supercars race last year. Somebody's rear wing fell off. That was actually Todd Hazelwood at Eastern Creek, which they have taken Eastern Creek off the calendar. I'm not particularly happy about that. So it's not particularly fun when your rear wing falls off. Anyway, we have a new person in the chat. That would be F1 and YTK. With some
eyes emojis.
Some eyes, yes.
Showing we're being watched, I suppose. Well, we appreciate being watched.
Yes. The Australian jokingly said that what caused it was going too fast. Okay. K-Mag
going too fast for his own mail slot.
K-Mag, Kevin Magnussen, had the fastest time of the morning in the Haas, and reserve driver Pietro Fittipaldi drove in the afternoon. Both Mercedes boys had a good running, other than slightly oversteering, but with no major consequences. Many of the rookies for various teams entered the 100-lap club in day 2 of testing. Moving on to day 3. Apparently F1 and YTK is an indirect FOM member, so we might need to be careful. Okay.
Oh no.
Because Formula One management, let's say they can be.
Be careful, Jack. Be careful.
They can be interesting sometimes. Day 3.
Use our words wisely.
Day 3. Now, and a lot to talk about. Williams made it to the track finally, with George Russell taking the car out for its first ride in 2019 and pushing slightly too much, meaning he cut the chicane but no damage done, and the British rookie was back on his way. He said that it felt pretty surreal to drive the car, which I can imagine it would. Alfa Romeo's Kimi Räikkönen had a better start to day 3 rather than day. Yes, thank you, Chris. We could be in trouble. Thank you for just notifying me of that. Alfa Romeo's Kimi Räikkönen, yes, he had a better start to day 3 than he did to day 2. To day 1, by setting the first lap to be set less than 118. By the end of the day, when sunset fell, it was the torpedo, Daniel Kvyat, who had the fastest lap in the Toro Rosso with an astonishing lap of 1:17.704. It was Mercedes who put in the most laps on day 3 with a whopping 182 laps. A good amount of laps, but not good times for the Silver Arrows as they were on the hard tires, and neither of them managed to get out of the 1 minute 20 zone. Before we say anything else, F1 and YTK says, I've got some contacts with them. No stress. I'm going to get your videos blocked. Haha. Oh, good. Definitely not nervous at all. I'm pretty sure you're new here, so please consider subscribing. We do try, and we try to give you the best content possible. Moving on, bodywork, flying off and spins was what Carlos Sainz had to manage on day 3. but all of this will make him a stronger and better driver for the 2019 season, because that sometimes happens. Haas had an unsettled day too, to say the least, with both cars causing red and yellow flags. The first two stops for Grosjean and Fittipaldi were ignition issues, and the third for Grosjean, which brought out the fire extinguisher, which is never particularly good. The Renault guys had a good day in the office, and both of them managed to get a time less than 118 as well. Moving on to the last day of testing. And I'm pretty sure this was the day the Inferno happened. The last day of testing for the first week, with everyone waiting for Robert Kubica's return. And did he impress? Oh, yes, he did. Overall, the Polish driver did well, considering he hasn't raced in F1 for 8 years. Although 5-time World Championship winner Lewis Hamilton almost collided with the Williams driver, but the championship winner's skills made sure no contact was made.
Can I just say, Kubica, I think, did a full race program when he was in the car. I think he did like 48 laps.
I remember he did a full race program a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure.
No, I mean during yesterday, during the fourth day.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of drivers will be doing so.
Yeah, like the fact that he still has the stamina to do so is actually quite respectable.
If he didn't, he wouldn't be in the car. Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's made an inspiring return. That's to say the absolute least.
Yeah, it's interesting how people are pointing out things like Hamilton and Kubica almost collided, because it was a bit of a close call, but at the same time, if they actually had collided, we'd be calling Hamilton a bit of an idiot. It would have been a really strange accident, and really that it wasn't that close at all. It's just, pre-season testing, things are going to happen, and that's how it works. That's how teams learn about their cars and how they learn about what the likely problems are going to be and how to combat them. That's why we see bits falling off. That's why we see drivers spinning. That's why we see fires. Yeah, all of this is just standard preseason testing stuff.
Yes, and then obviously, as you said, it is preseason testing, so Kubica also had a little bit of a spin at the chicane. The fastest lap for the morning was set by newcomer and rookie Alexander Albon, which was to many people's surprise after his 2 spins on his F1 debut.
Not to me.
Apparently it was to many people's surprise, but yes,
okay,
it wasn't. 1 minute 17.997 was Hamilton's fastest lap on the soft tire of day 4, and for the wingman, he showed us he may be more than just a wingman after beating Hamilton's time and setting himself a 1 minute 17.857. That reminds me, I did actually watch Top Gun during the week, and it is as good as I remember it to be.
Oh, it's fantastic. A fantastic piece of film. By the way, the wingman, for those that don't know, is, of course, Valtteri Bottas. And I guess they took the sandbags off the Merc.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see how it goes, honestly. But like Caitlin was saying, this is only preseason testing, and the last few years, the top team has not been at the top of the timesheets.
No, they haven't. And but the Mercedes were not fast enough to beat Nico Hülkenberg, who set a time of 1 minute 17.393. But the day didn't end too well for the German driver, as technical problems forced him to stop on track. Lance Stroll again took a spin at turn 13. The British driver from McLaren, Lando Norris, beached the car in the gravel due to low speed and oversteering, and that's just how Formula One cars work, really. They're not particularly good at low speeds. But it wasn't Lando who found himself in the gravel. It wasn't just Lando who found himself in the gravel. It was Charles Leclerc who found himself in the same place. So he lost the he lost one of the sensors on his car, but this didn't stop him from getting a solid 138 laps in. It was Giovinazzi who had the most laps, putting in over 150 laps, but he caused 2 red flags with technical issues, which you'd really come to expect, really. Gasly, Albon, and Norris all reached the 100-lap club too. So overall, it was a very positive week of testing, apart from McLaren, who accidentally set fire to the garage and a couple of their mechanics. But that doesn't matter.
And also,
that's just a minor
good thing
fire.
that the mechanics are okay. That's the most important.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jack, it does matter, and I'm glad the mechanics are okay.
That's just a minor hiccup. It's only a minor fire.
Okay,
and also,
so.
And also the burning paint in the Ferrari garage.
Yeah.
Burning
what was
paint?
that about? The red smoke that made it look like the Pope had died.
Yeah, apparently there was some red smoke.
I haven't heard of that. Okay.
Yeah, it was apparently
I hadn't heard of that either until this morning.
Red smoke that was coming out.
Anyway, so only a minor fire from McLaren. It's good that the mechanics are okay. And that rounds up week 1 of testing, and I think there is one other week to go. And it's not long before lights out in Melbourne for the start of the 2019 FIA F1 World Championship. The Australian Grand Prix, of course, I am no longer going to. Ooh. Should we move on? I believe it's time for everyone's favorite segment. Chris, do you want to take it away?
Miscellaneous stories and points that we missed and therefore covering now. TM. Bing! Somebody record that.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. We will.
Jack,
what?
We've got a miscellaneous stories and points that we missed and are therefore covering now is TM board on the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes,
that's
we do.
lovely.
Yes, we do.
Well done.
That of course,
that's fantastic.
That of course appeared in episode 1 and is also appeared in episode 2, which was actually finished uploading during this episode. So after this, you can go have a listen to that. Now, we have some Asian.
McLaren is okay. His McLaren 720S outside of the house starts burning.
Oh no.
We have some Asian Le Mans series news to start us off.
Yes.
Today, Chris, do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, the Asian Le Mans Series 2019 and 2020 calendar has been released, and it's in 4 countries. Shanghai will start the season. Then the Bend.
The Bend, yes.
Which, of course, is the first, I believe, the first World Championship race, like, for sports cars in Australia.
Oh, the Bend. Wow.
Yeah, they have one in Australia.
I thought it was the... Are we talking about the Asian Championship, or am I getting confused?
No. We're talking about the Asian Le Mans series is coming to Australia.
But Australia isn't Asian.
Yeah, it technically is. It's in the Asia Pacific region.
It's Australasia. But
yes,
anyway.
It's the first time that there is an international sports car championship going to Australia since the 2000 Race of 1,000 Years in Adelaide.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll see if I can
years to do that.
I'll see if I can get myself there.
What was that again? Did you say that was the first international event held in Australia since then?
No, the first sports car one.
Oh, phew. I was gonna say, what about the Grand Prix? I get it.
It's sanctioned. The other 2 are Sepang in Malaysia, which will, I believe, continue its
That was already on there, though, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
was already
it'll
on the
continue
calendar.
along with the Thailand race in Buriram, which
Yes.
honestly, I really wish they'd replace Buriram with Fuji, but that's just me.
More sports car racing at Fuji would be very fun. They don't race enough at Fuji. There's only like 2 races at Fuji that happen each year that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's basically just the WEC and the Asian Le Mans Series.
And Super GT.
And Super GT.
Yeah.
So the dates here I have on Daily Sports Car on my trusty app. The 22nd to 24th of November 2019 will be Shanghai in China. Round 2, the 10th and 12th of January 2020 will be The Bend in South Australia. Round 3, the Valentine's Day stroke discount chocolate day.
Very good.
So the 14th to the 15th of February at Sepang. And the finale will actually be at the Chang International Circuit in Thailand, in Buriram, from the 21st to the 23rd of February.
Right. So Asian Le Mans
from today.
We also have some more sports car racing news. We have 29 of the 34 entries for the WEC Sebring 1000 miles, and they took part in an open 2-day test. Chris, would you like to tell us about that?
Yes. Well, basically, it was an acclimation. It was an acclimatization to the track for those that have never been, like for the WEC teams. And basically just getting experience on how to drive at Sebring and like how the cars are going to react to the traditionally bumpy surface rather. I think it's actually going to, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's actually going to be a really great race at Sebring.
Well, let's hope so.
It's going into the night as well.
Sebring is a fantastic place to hold an endurance race because it's so bumpy and because it's so treacherous. It is genuinely a test of endurance, as some endurance races claim to be, but aren't really anymore. But yeah, Sebring is just a fantastic place to hold an endurance race at its classic endurance, and you know, with its history as well, it's probably, I'd say, the best endurance race in the world, racetrack rather.
I honestly wish that they would like cooperate with, or would merge the two series together, because like running IMSA and WEC, but like they have been that they last did in 2012. In fact, was the last time that WEC ran with IMSA.
It'd be a mega grid.
Yeah, anyway,
it would be. They actually have 2 pit lanes as well. There's one on the Ullman Strait.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there is.
The C cars.
Yeah. Anyway, there is some more Formula One news, adding a whole new meaning to the phrase Netflix and chill. Formula One is going to have a new documentary on Netflix, which, from memory, will actually be directed by the same guy that did the Senna documentary.
Oh my word. Who's it going to be biased towards this time?
It's called Drive to Survive.
Oh yes.
So I'm guessing it's not going to be biased towards someone's whose surname rhymes with Flamilton.
I must admit that is a very Channel 4 type name.
Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Formula One's never really been about driving to survive. It's about being driving to win. That reminds me, I still haven't watched the IndyCar documentary that had Scott Dixon in it. I actually need to watch that. Anyway, moving on to even more sports car news. Team Go are thinking about a Le Mans return, either with McLaren in the hypercar class, because they have established a relationship with McLaren, because they'll be
If
using
that happens,
they'll be using the 720S and the GT300 class in Super GT, or they will consider an LMP2 entry. Team Go, of course, using the old Audi prototypes back in the day.
yep. I remember actually Team Go ran ran the white Panos in the 2000 Le Mans race. It was actually it was the old Panos Roadster, and it was, I believe, sponsored by TV Asahi, which was the television network. And it actually, I think, finished. I'll have to check on where it finished, but it actually ran really well. Was one of the better privateers.
Anyway, also some more WEC news. I'm sure you guys will remember in episode 1 we covered the fact that Bicolors didn't have an engine anymore. So they have actually switched from the old Nissan power plants that they used to have to Gibson engines.
Which means which of course, if the old Bicolors joke means, it will, let me try that again. If the old Bicolors joke rings true, it means it'll go longer before its first fire.
Oh no.
Sorry, is the only thing we're going to talk about in this episode fires that happen to various teams?
Yeah, seems like it.
McLaren's have caught fire. Ferrari may or may not have caught fire. Haas caught fire. Bicolors will not be catching fire anymore.
It has a tendency to catch fire.
Actually, no, it seems there's something will catch fire in most episodes, because if you remember in episode 1, the Mazda caught fire. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is anything else caught fire?
Last time there was this much catching fire, Katniss Everdeen was the main character.
Very good.
Excellent.
Very good. That was actually quite a good movie. I enjoyed that. I still stand by Catching Fire is the best installment into the Hunger Games franchise. I think most people will agree with me.
Would you believe I've never seen it? I've never seen any of the Hunger Games movies.
Have you read them? Have you read the books?
No, I haven't read the books either.
Have you read the movies? Yeah, she's gonna go and read the transcript, Chris.
I've played the Minecraft minigames.
Oh, those are fun. Those are fun. The Fortnite step aside. Minecraft Hunger Games needs to come back.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right there, Murray.
I hope nothing else catches fire.
Stream, don't catch fire now.
Oh gosh, what could possibly go wrong? Something's gone wrong in every episode, and I really don't want an inferno to be the next thing that goes wrong. Moving on to some Formula E / IMSA news. Felipe Nasr will be skipping the Rome Eprix to defend his IMSA WeatherTech title.
Which is honestly a smart decision, because basically Nasr was brought in as a last-minute replacement. And honestly, he's committed to the full season with the Whelan team for Action Express, and unfortunately,
yeah, it is a wise move. It wouldn't make sense for him to throw that away simply because of a Formula E seat that he signed up for last minute.
Yeah.
Andre Lauderer comes to mind, but
gosh.
And I'd like to take the next one.
Go ahead.
There's been some news in Formula 2. Yes, Formula 2 is making news, as Tatiana Calderon has been signed with the BWT Arden team for 2019. Now, for those that don't know, it's actually Al Fauber's Formula 2 junior team.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh, Freya wants to know who NASA replaced in Formula E. And
it was Maximilian Gunter.
I was going to say yes, it was Maximilian Gunter. Yeah, and that was on what team was that? That was
Dragon,
right?
I guess Gunter ran out of money.
Yeah, apparently so. So yeah, that's good. That and Tatiana Calderon, I saw this statistic as well. That would mean that she is the first ever female in the Formula 2 championship.
Really?
Yes.
I'd have to go back to the. I think actually there were some women in the former iteration of Formula 2.
In the current iteration, no, because well, you're talking about the really, really old Formula 2.
I'm talking all time. Like I think
they're talking about the current iteration of Formula 2.
Yeah. Does that count GP2 as well? Yeah, I'm pretty sure because Carmen Yorda only reached GP3, as did before Tatiana Calderon, but she's now moved up. So yeah, I believe you might be right there.
Anyway, and then Chris, would you like to take the last one?
Yes, and this is how, and this is a message to any team manager out there, and any sponsor. First of all, please sponsor us. We're good people.
Yes.
We have professional broadcasts.
Insert your name here.
Yes. This is Rich Energy.
Yep.
Rich Energy and Red Bull have started a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah.
This was started on day 1 of F1 testing. And I'll read it for you in my best narrator voice. A superb effort today in testing by the Haas F1 team and the tremendously talented Romain Grosjean. Our first day in F1, and we are faster than Red Bull Racing. Superior performance fueled by rich energy. Hashtag world class. Hashtag rich energy. Hashtag Haas F1. Hashtag better than Red Bull, etc. I got a little tear in my eye.
Does that sound? Is that your impersonation of Principal Skinner reading out tweets from Haas F1?
No, just a generic narrator. But
yeah. So what I proposed before the show is that in one of these episodes, we should do a live taste test.
Oh my goodness, that's an amazing idea. I should say though, yeah, just because they were faster than Red Bull in preseason testing doesn't really mean much, because Red Bull simply weren't trying to go fast on that day, and that's not just that's not one of those. Oh yeah, I was barely trying. I could thrash you if I try. No, that's not what happens in preseason testing. You know, it's not about who's quickest. It's about getting the laps in and testing things, and who's quickest is just, you know, that's just a bonus really, which comes far later. So yeah, I understand that that's for the sponsorship thing, but it does seem a little bit immature.
Anyway,
and yeah, like I give it 3 months. 6 is being generous. 1 year on the car is extremely ambitious. I don't think I don't think they actually sell Rich Energy here in Canada. So I don't think I can do the taste test.
Anyway, it will possibly come back to bite them. And on that note, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Caitlin Penny commentary and the wonderful Chris Whitfield. The links to their various social media pages in the description below. Thank you to Freya Edwards, for helping us write these articles. Thank you to Finnick Hour at Finnick Hour on Instagram for making the wonderful graphics. Less can be said for me utilizing them in a PowerPoint presentation. Anyway, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See you all.
Bye for now.